Yeah, welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. Jamaica's National Stadium continues to hug the headlines as work to resurface the running track was scheduled to start today. It is a rainy afternoon in Kingston, though. The resurfacing of the track has created concern about the venue's readiness to host the popular Intersecondary School Sports Association ISA Boys and Girls Athletics Championships set for March 25 to 29. Recently, President of ISA, Keith Wellington, speaking to the Jamaica Observer, said a decision about a potential postponement of the event may need to be made soon. This is what Mr. Wellington said. From what has been shared with us in terms of the plans to execute the work, I would say certainly after this weekend, based on what we're aware of, the work is expected to intensify sometime over the weekend. If we do not see that work progressing as per the schedule we have been given, then we'd be concerned. Right now, we are putting all plans in place for champs to be at the stadium March 25 to 29. That's the only option we've been focused on and remain focused on. After this weekend, we'll review the position and see where we are. Meanwhile, Jamaica's Minister of Sport, the Honourable Olivia Grange, says the resurfacing of the track will be completed in time to facilitate the staging of champs.
Vice President for North America for Rickerton, he's here heading the team. They are very confident that they will complete the work in time for champs. They showed me the work plan, walked me through it, indicated some of the issues that exist on the ground. But they said they have found some areas where they have to cut out and treat. They'll work day and night so that the schedule that have been worked out we will meet those deadlines.
Yeah, Minister Grange also reassured that the upcoming CONCACAF Champions Cup football match between reigning Jamaica Premier League champions Cavalier and Inter Miami will go ahead as scheduled, and it will not affect the resurfacing efforts. The date for the football is also a part of the work plan, so they factor that in, which means that it will not affect the work going on, said Minister Grange. All right, Mariah, that's what we have at this stage in terms of what's happening with the National Stadium in Kingston. The Carifta Trials was to be held there at the stadium this weekend as well. That was switched to GC Foster Cottage, currently taking place. But it is raining this afternoon in Kingston, and it has been raining most afternoons for this week. The work was to start today. No updates yet as to whether anything has started as it relates to actual digging up of the surface or anything like that. Up to last night, there was nothing of that sort. But of course, we know, we were told earlier this week that that would be today, Friday. At this stage, Mariah, at this stage, we have to trust what the minister is saying, that the facility will be ready for both the football match and for the Issa Grace Kennedy Boys and Girls Athletics Championships. She has put her neck essentially on the chopping block here on a number of occasions now, with her initial statements that unless there is some act of God, it will be ready, and also in attempting in the last 24 to 48 hours to reassure concerned citizens, concerned stakeholders that all will be well.
Yeah, and I think at this point, Ricardo, it's the only option she has, right? The work has not started. Well, as I said, today is the date that we were given for the work to start. So I think what she's doing in her capacity as Minister of Sport is just reassuring everybody not to go into a panic yet. You know, she's saying they're on track.
Yet. think she's saying don't go into a panic at all.
Right. Don't go into a panic because they have timelines. I mean, what can she do? She's not the person working on the project. She would have to, of course, rely on the expertise of those that have been entrusted with this work, and they're telling her, well, you know, what's happening on the track will not be affected by what's happening on the football field. So she's just relaying the information to us. And I feel like, you know, she's in such an uncomfortable position. It's a position I would not want to be in right now. But, you know, Ricardo, I'd just say let's just give it the benefit of the doubt. These people would have worked on numerous tracks before. I don't know the timeline they had to work with, but it's something that, you know, we just really going to have to wait and see. You spoke about the rain yesterday afternoon. It was raining. Today I saw a bit of drizzle.
Bit of drizzle. It was pouring.
Okay, well, I was
Kingston.
getting ready for this show. Yeah, I was here. I was downtown. So again, it's something that we're going to have to watch, because the weather, I know for sure, when it comes to work like this, it affects a lot of what you can and can't do. So again, I'm just like Minister Grange. I'm sitting and I'm saying, well, citizens, let's just wait. Don't panic.
Yeah, and we know for a fact as well that Regupol, who laid the previous track, part of their concern in getting the work done in the short space of time that they were being asked to do it was the factor of the weather. And they were not sure whether the weather would hold up in this period to allow them to complete the work in such a short space of time. And I am worried that if we have another week next week like we did this week in terms of the daily showers, that could significantly set the project back. And I wonder how much these manufacturers took that into account. I hope they took that into account. But we do have some dates that we have to track from here on in. Of course, one of them is the 11th of March heading into the 12th, because as I pointed out at the top of the show, Inter Miami and Cavalier, who should be playing at the stadium on the 13th, second leg, round of 16, CONCACAF Champions Cup tie, they should have the facility for practice sessions on that day, the day before the match. That's the 12th. And based on what Ryan Foster explained yesterday, and based on our understanding as well of how matches of this level are dealt with, the venue has to be turned over to CONCACAF by a certain time. And so, as I understand it, most of the heavy lifting for whatever is being done to the track should be finished by about the 10th or the 11th of March. But quickly, Mariah, one of the big issues for me when it comes on to what is happening with this project is that I feel as if, certainly for us here in the media, we have to be begging and feeling for information.
Yeah.
And I don't think that for a situation of this magnitude, it should be the case. Now, I can't say how the ministry, I can't say how Independence Park Limited should run their show, but I would like to suggest that in a situation like this, and whatever panic we are facing right now could have been allayed with more information, clearer communication. I just feel when we spoke to the minister last week, for example, what was said, because we had a number of questions about the project, and the minister did say in an interview that she would either be doing a press conference or they would be putting out a press release detailing what would be happening. Now, we have seen subsequent to that where the minister on her IG page has put out excerpts like the one we played in this segment that came from her social media. But I still feel as if there are so many unanswered questions relating to this project. So, for example, even this idea of based on the timeline that has been given, and we have these timelines, but we don't know what those timelines are. And I don't know. I really don't know if, as members of the media, we're asking for too much to say, well, if the timelines exist, then why can't that be told to the public? We're going to start on this date. And by starting, we mean that it's going to be the digging of the track on this date. Then by this time, that should be completed. By the 10th of March, this is where we should be. The expectation is that the project will be finished on the 19th or the 20th of March. The stadium will be ready to be turned over to organizers of champs by the 22nd, 3 days in advance. If those timelines exist, then why is it so difficult to make those available to us as the media so we can disseminate to the public so there is not this, mass hysteria and panic going around? The fact is, Mariah, that you have a number of individuals, I would say thousands of them, who travel from overseas to Kingston for the annual Boys and Girls Championships. And I know several individuals who at this stage are in a panic because they are not 100% sure what to do. They've already requested leave from their jobs and they want assurances. And I guess, yes, it's great that the minister has now come out again and said, don't worry, it will be ready. But I just believe a lot of that could have been avoided if the communication from the outset was a lot clearer. And I don't think personally that it was as clear as it should have been in a situation like that. But maybe it is also a case that I am asking for too much. I don't know. And to be honest, if I am asking for too much, then please tell me. I would like to know.
So I'm thinking, and I mean, I'm just thinking from Minister Grange's point of view, right? Maybe, Ricardo, it isn't as clear as we think it is. Like you asked about, what will happen on particular dates. Yeah. Remember, the weather now is a factor.
Yes.
That we don't know if it was
But
considered.
all of that in consideration, because we keep hearing about a plan, we keep hearing
Correct.
about these timelines, and we keep hearing that we are on schedule. So clearly,
there is a schedule.
There is a schedule, and something exists, even on the part of Keith Wellington. If I can get that quote again,
okay.
From Keith Wellington, just to point out that even in that was the suggestion that there are timelines that he, as the president of ISA, is watching. So he says, from what has been shared with us in terms of the plans to execute the work, I would say certainly after this weekend, based on what we're aware of, the work is expected to intensify sometime over the weekend. If we do not see that work progressing as per the schedule we have been given, then we'd be concerned.
So you just want the schedule that he was given? Is that what you're saying?
Or at least a much better idea of it. Because here's the thing, right? Remember that initially, the minister did say to us that work would begin on Sunday, the day after the Gibson McCook relays.
Last Sunday.
Yes. Now, forgive me if I took that to mean that on Sunday, some digging would start of the track. Yeah, something would be happening at the National
you would at least
Stadium.
see equipment.
Yeah, and then on Monday morning now, when we're checking, we're told, well, no. Well, some of the workmen still haven't come in. They won't come in until Wednesday, and the work won't start, or that type of work won't start until Friday. Everybody was under the assumption that the work that we were told on Monday would start on Friday was actually going to be starting on Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah? No, I just believe that the communication was clearer. We would not have been under that impression. So there would not have been a panic when we reported on Monday that, guess what, guys, that work that we were told would start yesterday did not start, and it's not going to start until Friday. So the clarity in disseminating the information ensures that you do not have reactions like the one that we had on Monday, because we do have a responsibility to report what we are seeing and what we're happening, and we can only go against what we have been told by the officials. and compare that to what we are seeing.
Yeah, so
and to me, that is only fair.
It's supposed to start today. So does it mean, Ricardo, that we're going to send a team to check very soon on what's happening? Did you drive that way today?
I did not drive that way today.
I feel like you strike me as someone who would just be camping out outside to see what's happening.
I have a lot of things to do, Mariah. As much as I would love to do that, I would much prefer clearer communication.
Understand.
And I'm not even sure if we will, if we are allowed to go inside the National Stadium without some type of clearance at this stage. So we would have to get clearance. Last time we attempted to go there to get shots of what was happening. We were not allowed to go in. We were told that we needed to get clearance, and we were unable to make contact with the individual or individuals charged with giving us that clearance. So
that's a no.
There are all those issues. Well, I'm not saying it's a no. I'm just saying we didn't.
I didn't even
get
realize
in touch
all
with
of that
them.
happened.
I don't know. Why? I mean, individuals are working constantly. We're all busy people, so people miss calls all the time. It does not mean that they're deliberately avoiding us. I'm not suggesting that any at all.
Okay.
But what is fact is that we were unable to get in touch with them to get any type of clearance to enter the facility and get shots of what was happening. So hopefully we'll get that clearance to see what is happening at some point of this project. And I can understand as well if, depending on where the project is, they may or may not want the media in at certain points. I think that's fairly understandable. But yes, I'm just asking for clarity and clear communication when it comes on to what is supposed to happen. But let's see how it goes from here on.
Yeah, I'm hoping by Monday at least we know what's happening. I just want to know that the work has started, because if we start, we can get to some sort of finish, right? Yeah. When we finish, I don't know, but I just hope that they've started. On this point, we're going to take a quick break, Ricardo. We have a lot to get through on today's show, and we'll be right back.